Radha Jairam, Professor Dilip Kumar, and Professor Swaminathan.
Mukesh.
Now let me introduce the panelists first quickly, because time is very short. In 45 minutes we have to complete panel discussion. Now the first one on this side, to your left, is Dr. Dilip Kumar, who is a professor in Department of Chemistry, BITS, Pilani. He has a teaching and research experience of 21 years, and he has guided 6 PhD students. He has 95 publications. Next is my friend Dr. Dekar. He is a professor and head now, Department of Chemistry, Guwahati University. He has done PhD in IIT Kharagpur and has got BSc also from Guwahati University. He has teaching experience of 26 years. He has guided 17 research students, and he has number of publications to his credit. My right hand side is Professor Ashiraju. He is a professor of chemistry, Pragati Engineering College, which is affiliated to JNTU, Kakinada. He has a teaching experience of 30 years, and he has guided 10 PhD students, and he has more than 34 publications to his credit. My left hand side is my colleague, Professor Radha Jairam. He is a professor of Physical Chemistry, Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. She has guided 20 PhD students. She has more than 85 publications to her credit, and she is actively involved with National Chemistry Olympiad movement. On extreme right, to your extreme right, is Professor Swaminathan. Everybody knows him because he was the convener of our last NCCT. He is Emeritus Professor, Department of Chemistry, Annamalai University. He has a long teaching experience. Perhaps he is the senior most in the panel, 38 years. Research experience of 34 years. He has guided 18 PhD students, and he has 178 publications to his credit. H index is 27. So this is a panel. All are experienced teachers, and you people also are in the same profession. So there should be a very healthy interaction between the audience and the panelists. Now the topic which is given to us is how can teaching research linkage be strengthened in higher education. The same topic Professor Bansal yesterday discussed in detail, and at that time I said that now it is setting the stage for panel discussion. So the audience is well aware of this topic, and he has discussed so many issues related to that. Now the purpose of a panel discussion is the audience can simultaneously listen to many experts, and they can have a dialogue with the experts. That is the idea of a panel discussion. So let us have a very healthy, cordial panel discussion. There are many issues related to this topic, such as quality of teaching, quality of research. What is the meaning of strengthening this relationship? Yesterday you used the word teaching research nexus, which is a very good terminology for that. So all these points we can discuss under this panel discussion. Now the structure of this panel discussion I will tell you at the beginning. That first all the panelists will quickly give the opinion or their remarks regarding this topic, maybe one and a half minutes, 2 minutes, not more than that. Then I will put some questions to the panelists. After that is a 20 minutes period, say, let us take that way. Then there is an interaction period among the panelists. That means across you can ask the questions. Suppose you feel that somebody has given a comment and which you want to either support or refute, then that can be done. That will be about 10 minutes. And the last part is a forum period where the audience can ask the questions, which is a short 5 minutes, not more than that. So this entire exercise we have to complete in say 40-45 minutes. So be specific in the answers. Quickly you can answer. So let us have a very orderly and courteous discussion during this panel discussion. So let me start from Dilip Kumar. That give your comment about this topic, quickly. Your opinion based on your experience.
Very good afternoon. Regarding the linkage of research, teaching, I think if we, morning, Professor Kalsi, I was there in the lecture, if all the points I summarized more than sufficient to link it. Subsequently, Professor A.K. Singh also put in proper perspective, and earlier lectures also added to this topic that how we can integrate. Now, as far as my personal experience is, I should say first is our commitment. We are committed to the whatever task is assigned. Once we have our commitment, then let's say there are trends are continuing over the years. As Professor Kalsi mentioned, we gave 6 compounds mixture specifically to organic chemistry. Now if you ask after the practical to student, they will question why to separate mixture. So they essentially they don't know why they are separating. First of all, we are mixing something, giving them and making something for them more complicated. So we should make a student clear that why they want to do. We allow them to think about it, and then like morning many MSc students, specifically Professor Bansal, he has encouraged, I think this is another way to learn, that students through whatever the way they can contribute towards smaller topics.
You are interested in that this commitment from a teacher.
Yes.
Towards the profession. That means you have to expect something from the students. Is that it? Professor Dekha?
I will continue.
My co-panelist and audience. Yes, Professor Bansal yesterday said that there is a symbiotic relationship between learning and teaching. Yes, and also Professor Singh this morning said that there is a difficulty in implementation. But in between that, there are many other things. So my feeling is that linkage certainly exists, but some researchers could not find a linkage or their data did not support it. Everything may not be possible to see, but we must be try to find a device to how to see it. Now, my feeling is that research creates knowledge, and or it discovered knowledge, and on the other hand, for teaching we need knowledge. So my feeling is that only learned people should go for teaching, and that's why there's certainly linkage between research and teaching. And again, my experience is that teaching perfect the learning or our invention of knowledge. Suppose I discover something through research or find something new through research, but if I go for teaching, certainly I will have interaction with real teachers, and finally my learning, my discovery, my finding goes to perfection. So there is a relationship. Only thing researchers say that all good research people are not good teachers, or good teachers not necessarily to be research scholar, so good researcher. But that is not true. There are many who are equally good in research and teaching.
So Dekha, there is a very valid point that whether this link is visible or not, whether there is an invisible link or a visible link.
Good evening to all of you. As far as myself is concerned, teacher research can be a powerful form of professional development, and it can change a teacher's practice also. The teacher research is practical, action-based research, and it enriches their teaching skills and puts them in collaborative contact with peers that have a like interest in classroom research. So this research we can term as action research, and development research questions based on their curiosity about teaching and learning in their classrooms, and systematically collect data and research various methods of conducting research, and this type of research share findings with the students, colleagues and members of the educational community, and it assumes responsibility for their own professional growth. These are some of my views on this teacher learning research.
Yeah, Macharaj is saying about one two important point, that the teaching should be practical based. There is another very valid data, and the collection of data, whatever that you are accumulating, it can be siphoned back to the teaching.
I think by higher education, here we mean postgraduate education.
And even undergraduate.
Undergraduate. Okay, if it comes to postgraduate education or to some extent even undergraduate education, if the teacher takes up research areas in the subjects the teacher teaches in the classroom or vice versa, then I think there would be a synergistic effect on his or her teaching as well as the research output of the teacher, which would be reflected in the classroom teaching. Or in other words, any teacher can make it a point to take up research areas with respect to her or his field of expertise with respect to teaching. Then I think that reflection and the synergistic effect would be more effective.
Adam's point is that when the teacher has to select an area which is relevant to his research, so teaching and research, they will go together. You know? I should not select a teaching topic which will be totally not related to research.
So good afternoon. So today morning that in a lecture he asked that the student should ask why you are teaching the subject. Similarly, the teacher when he goes to the class, he should ask why we are teaching the subjects. So that way that we have to, as far as research is concerned, research should be, as the madam said, should be focused on that, class learning and also the societies and then environment. We talk about the environment remediation and other things. But, that class, especially in the laboratories, all the experiments have to be replaced by the green chemistry experiments, because, once you enter the lab, then we all of us know that so much of, pollution is there in the lab itself. Actually, in our, as after my retirement also, that we concentrate particularly developing the catalyst. I said yesterday that Tandia was telling that how to make use of infrared radiation practically. Like that, we have to design the experiment. So we have developed that to make use of the solar energy, design the experiment. So the research should be focused like that, so that it can be applied to the classroom teaching also. So that way, we have to do that, and then we can make it up. Thank you.
Professor Swaminathan has said about one important point, that the practicals themselves in whatever that students are doing in the lab, they should be more relevant. And once they are relevant, then that will have a reflection on the teaching. So our first round is over. Thanks to all the panelists. Let us move further. Okay, we agree that there is a synergy, there is a relationship between teaching and research. That everybody agrees. I don't think that anybody is there in the audience who can say that no, they are two disparate things. Anybody is there? So perhaps we agree on that issue. Now, my first question is, do you feel that teachers are aware of this link? He has already answered that. He said that sometimes it is invisible. So my first question to panelists is, do you feel that the teachers are aware of this link? You take undergraduate teachers, postgraduate teachers.
In my opinion, some cases I can see that they are aware, but in other cases they are completely though directly, indirectly they might be doing, or they can invoke the students, but they are not aware that if we talk research, it is something is not doable along with the teaching, or these students are not having sufficient something they think in that direction. So both type of
that means it may not be visible.
Not completely.
Yeah, may not.
In some cases.
Yeah. I have already answered that it is invisible. Am I correct?
Yeah, somebody we should be willing to see also. Sometimes we are not willing to see. That is the thing.
So in my opinion, more than nearly 60% are not aware of this fact. And really, if the teachers are in research field, definitely the way of teaching and the analysis they will make in the classroom on a particular concept will be more effective.
I think more than 60% of the research carried out by teachers is done with a different motive. It's they are looking at more of tangible, visible outcomes. So I'm afraid whether at least more than 50% of them, I don't think they have made an effort, or maybe they were helpless also, have not found out the link between their research and their teaching and educating students towards research. Research is looked upon as a pathway for personal, going up a ladder, and it is not taken up in any other perspective. That's my opinion.
I can say even more than 80% are not aware of it. I mean, that's about it, this one. So the teachers should be oriented, some workshop should be conducted so that they can make aware of it and then do it.
See friends, one important point has now come. And some of you may agree, some of you may not agree also, I am aware of that. But majority of the teachers are not aware of this inherent link between research and teaching. So that means we have to do something, maybe as association also, to educate the teachers about how it is lying, what are the connections, And then the question comes up how to strengthen that. The very important point has come now. Now my second question is that number of times we have seen, everybody has witnessed, that teachers say that suppose I am doing research, then I don't have time for teaching. A very common complaint. Or suppose a teacher is there who is devoting a lot of energy for lectures and practicals. He says that I don't get time for research. So my next question is that what is your opinion? How the research affects a person's teaching? It is another important question which I am putting it to you.
Professor Saman, I have a suggestion that when you have completed one round and on that particular point, if somebody has some comment from audience,
Time is not. Let us take the
at the same time, it will be very difficult to remember all the points in the end.
They are taking it. They are taking it. I will in a forum discussion.
Because she wanted to say that it is not correct what he said.
No, let us restrict to panel now. Otherwise it will be endless. Let us collect because audience is going to listen to panel.
Teaching along with the research, it is like one is in some institution how teaching or which way is looked into research. Sometimes it becomes like you are a very good teacher, but if you are not doing research, then you are being looked different way.
Then my question is slightly different. The teachers feel that if I am doing research, my teaching will automatically get suffered. So I am going to do less teaching. Whether it is true or whether it is a fact, and then what is your comment on that? It is a common, everybody might have witnessed it.
Actually, sir, it depends on, I don't know, as an individual I see, it's how much workload his institute is giving, and based on that I can balance, because it differs from institute to institute, that
So his opinion is that it can be balanced.
it can be balanced.
At individual level, it can be balanced.
In this aspect, my opinion is that it's a matter of policy decision. Suppose in colleges there is a major pass course, honors course, then government is or administration is putting only 2 teachers. How these 2 teachers can cover the whole course and find time for research? The time is necessary. So it's a matter of policy decision. Administration must help with enough number of teachers. Then infrastructure must be created, and of course, teachers, on the part of teachers, there is a role. They must be interested. Sometimes I can say they must be compelled to do research or learn. Why I am telling this thing, let me elaborate. Many things we do under compulsion. Students will not study if there is no exam. So students study overnight. So similarly, we must give enough weightage to teaching so that is counted during promotion or elevation to other posts. So enough weightage must be given to teaching. It must be evaluated and be weightage for promotion.
The opinion is that the proper weightage should be given from the institution, from the university.
As far as my opinion is concerned, teaching from 10 to 5. It is our job responsibility, and research should be before 10 or 9 and after 5 o'clock. In that way, the research scholars or the teacher who is doing research should concentrate. because teaching profession will give us salary for our livelihood, and research will give us professional development and name and fame and his experience, which will be highly useful to the student community.
Masiraj's opinion is that you can divide the time judiciously between research and teaching.
Teaching is from 10 to 5.
Yeah.
That is our profession.
A teacher is not a person who just transfers data from a textbook. Teacher has taught several skills, including administrative skills. So a good teacher should have a proper balance of everything, research, administration, as well as teaching. But unfortunately, since the society and our system places lot of emphasis on research and research output, the teachers tend to be more biased towards spending more time on research, and then they claim that they don't have enough time for teaching. If they properly manage their time and they have their own internal balance, that it is not that they have to prove to somebody that they are a good researcher, they have to be primarily good teacher, I think this problem can be solved. If I take 30 PhD students and I say that I don't have time to teach, I think the fault is mine, it's nobody else's.
As I said, it's institution based. Most of the institutions, they don't encourage research. It's colleges particularly. They say that only the teaching is more important, we don't bother about the research. In that case, the teacher is in the trouble. He cannot pursue the research. But anyway, the teacher, if he has real interest, he can apply, and as he said, he can devote more time and then get funds from outside, because certainly that colleges will not give fund for that research also. So in that case, he has to get from funds and do research, and then he can do it. That way he can manage it, balance it.
I mean, suppose the teacher is doing research at a UG level or PG level, will it affect his teaching in a quantitative manner? I'm not talking about quality. That is my specific question. Can you elaborate more?
Like quantitatively, he can do it. I mean that.
Teaching.
No, teaching he has to. He cannot. I mean, because for that only he is paid, but he cannot go away from the teaching.
What about
apart from the teaching, he has
what
to.
What about quality of teaching?
Quality of teaching, he should do it very nicely, because now full concentration he should do it only on the quality of teaching. Teaching is more important. Same time he can, as I said, personal development. He can go for the. This one. Another one is that whatever the research that we do, the outcome of the research, if it comes to the syllabus, automatically it goes for the teaching also. So mostly, suppose if you do something in fluorescence, something and other things, practical applications, and that those things can be taken to the classroom, and then it can be, the students can be motivated that way.
Now the question comes that suppose you are talking about the symbiosis or synergy between the research and teaching. Suppose you are doing research, how that research is going to affect your teaching? Can you elaborate on that? I'm a researcher, I have been doing research. How that is going to affect my teaching, quality of teaching?
Certainly, let's say country like India, what happens as an individual, you go to conference as a teacher, you are being compared with a colleague from research lab, let's say CSIR labs, and there nobody sees that this part they are teachers also and research also, both components are being carried out. There it becomes for a faculty, institute wise it's okay, because what is expected from teaching as well as research side you are doing. But national level, international level, there it becomes difficult that okay, certainly we have to carry out the teaching because to generate revenue or what's our reasons to encourage our students, train them better way. But teaching, research, that time we need to compromise, we need to make extraordinary efforts to continue to sustain in that competition. So it affects.
Teaching, how your teaching is going to affect your...
I don't think teaching or research are going to affect each other. I very much 100% agree that it is symbiotic, and it should not come. For example, if there is anything, say somebody is not finding time to do research because of teaching, or vice versa, that is fault of the system. We have to correct the system. We cannot blame that we are not finding time like that. We have to find time, and accordingly, support system must help. Now, for example, how research is helping. Suppose I have never done a chromatography, TLC or GC, but I am simply textbook reading and going to teach. Do you think that I am perfectly can teach the TLC or GC? No, never. But if I do the research in the laboratory, how TLC done, how it is done, each and every aspect I can nicely explain the teacher. That is a simple example I can tell you.
This research will have positive effect on teaching. Why? Because in post-graduation, students will learn regarding organocelians and organoburians. But generally they won't do any practical in laboratory. But if the teacher is in a research field, he can know the applications of all these reducing agents in further synthesis of different compounds, which will be highly useful in their job profession, etc. Because they will be highly useful in particular synthesis of organic compounds. So, if the teacher is a researcher, definitely he can explain in a very fashionable way and in a very wonderful way to the students to understand what is the use of these compounds in future. That means in which way they can use all these reactions. And more powerfully, the students can understand the utilization of these compounds which they have studied even in theory subject. In this way, the research will positively affect the teacher.
If a teacher is a researcher, he or she is definitely in touch with the current literature. He knows what is happening in the field. He also knows what is the need of the hour. And it percolates into the teacher. Without he or she, he doesn't have to make any effect. It will automatically reflect in the classroom teaching. Not only that, it will also be a motivation for the students to take up research as a career. So the teacher will be in touch with the subject, the teacher will be in touch with the people who are experts in the subject. For example, if I'm not a researcher, I don't think I would be knowing 50% of the people who are sitting in the panel. So without me making any effort, I am sure it would percolate in my teaching also. So it is definitely a positive added advantage and it won't affect teaching.
So I agree 100% because the personal experience is that that our research should be modified based on the students. Actually, I was teaching ME Environmental Engineering, and the Chidambaram is known for electroplating industries. Immediately we started giving a project on that degradation of cyanide by using that biomicrobes. So many students have done it. One of the students got PhD even in that. So we can modify our research. All the researchers know that we might have done something else in the fluorescence, something else in the other things. But once we know some problem, once we know that we are teaching only environment, we can modify our research to the environment. So that way, a researcher can make use of the student, make use of the teaching for his further improvement also.
2-3 important points have come in this discussion. One point is that researcher is actively involved in experimentation, and that experimentation strengthens his teaching, actual classroom teaching. Second point is connecting teaching with society. That is a point which he has said. And Madam has given another point that teacher is up to date with respect to literature, what is happening around. So therefore that is also reflected in the teaching, and his teaching becomes contemporary. It doesn't become obsolete. Very good points have come. Now okay, we have come to now a stage that the topic says of the panel discussion how to strengthen it. We have accepted the fact that there is a relationship. We have also seen how they are going to interfere or affect each other. Now the next point is how to strengthen it, this relationship between research and teaching.
In my opinion, one way is by incorporating more laboratory components, telling about objective of experiment to students, and then probably like elective courses wherein a student can carry out like laboratory oriented projects. Through that, students is being monitored like seminar, maybe sometime he has to go to library, see what are the journals, literatures. He knows that what we mean by research or smaller projects, and then in terms of seminars we evaluate at the end of the semester and it counts as one course. Other is, if this practice is not possible, one student can go for a study oriented projects wherein teacher can assign a topic and student throughout the semester, for that against that course he can summarize this topic overall from literature point of view, I think that also will help the students.
My view is that we should design our course curriculum or the syllabi properly, giving enough scope for students' participation in teaching and research learning. Secondly, administration has the role to give enough infrastructure, just like this morning Professor Singh said that it's simply not possible to do project work in Nagaland University like that. So that part is left to the administration. Secondly, just like we have to put efforts in research. Without effort, there is no research. Similarly, we must put efforts in to improve our teaching quality. So, in many interviews I have seen, nothing is asked about how is about your teaching, how is the students evaluate you as a teacher. Nothing is asked like that. Only asking how many papers, what is the impact factor, all that thing. So we have to find a proper mechanism so that teachers' quality is evaluated, so that teachers in return to get the advantage of that put enough effort to improve his quality of teaching.
I'm repeating my question, how to strengthen this link?
If a teacher is a researcher, then he can share all his findings with the students, colleagues and members of the educational community from time to time. And at the same time, the teacher can inspire with some of his research results by discussing all those results for some time in classroom also, so that some students will be inspired in that way, and definitely they will ask some questions on the particular topic to the teacher. And at the same time, they will also start analytical thinking. This can lead to research brains. That means they can develop some research brains in their future career, and which our nation needs at the same time.
University system is a vast system. I cannot comment and I can't give opinion often. But what teachers or researchers can do is, they have a large task force in terms of students. They can be undergraduate or postgraduate students. The teacher definitely has a well-established research laboratory. So the teacher can give, some assignments, short assignments, research assignments to the postgraduate as well as undergraduate students. If the postgraduate course has a research component, then there is no problem. If it is not, both undergraduate and postgraduate students can be encouraged by these teachers to take up some kind of projects. And even the the PhD students can be trained to come up with, laboratory tasks which are based on their research work. So it will be a good training and would be an exposure for them also to bring these two things together. So teachers can encourage, involvement of students in their research at whatever level it could be. Then I think it would be more true.
Anyway, most of the things that I told, actually, the student should be given the projects. Particularly in an MSc, integrated MSCs, even at the third year, Kottayam they have an MSc integrated that. Even at the third year they are giving the projects. And they have the instruments, so should be asked to operate the instrument like UV and other things. So when they are given a project, the research can be linked to that teaching also. So they can be trained. So that way they can improve that.
Any other point you would like to suggest? Any other point? Very quick question. In few words, 2 or 3 words. What is the main constraint in this establishing and strengthening this linkage? What is the main constraint? What is the main problem? Just 1 or 2 words.
Main problem is, I think, practical component is not seriously is being taken.
I think proper policy. We have to outline a proper policy.
Proper policy.
Yeah.
Due to lack of interest first, and the next one is many teaching community are having some lack of interest in research and thinking that the research is very difficult. In that way, it is affected.
Teachers themselves have compartmentalized research and teaching. If they remove that compartment, and teaching and research can be, one complementary to each other, I think the problem can be solved.
First, teachers should be aware of that current one and then interact with the students.
Okay friends, we are coming to the next part of the discussion. And in this discussion, naturally you can ask the question. You have now heard everybody. So you can ask the questions across. So I will start with Swaminathan sir. Any question you ask to anybody about what is in your mind, issue is there. It has so many aspects. If you want any clarification from anybody, you can ask.
Teachers' role.
Any issue, any issue.
Teachers' role in inspiring the students.
What is the role of the teacher in inspiring the student? We said that student is an important component of this process of teaching and learning.
Technically, the students are there. Students only get up.
Can anybody answer?
Yeah, I can answer because if I do research, students will be inspired. If I wear the lab coat, students will wear the lab coat. If I ask the student, you have the lab coat, but I do not use myself the supervisor, they will not do that. Or they
Personal learning may inspire the students.
What he wants to say is that let the teacher be role model.
role model.
For the
They
student.
will be role model ourselves.
Everybody wants to be.
Should be a researcher first of all, then students in that and he can
Yeah. Sorry. We just circulate.
First of all, teacher should be, if teacher is a researcher, definitely his research ideas definitely inspire the students, and he can motivate all the students to think in that particular way, so that.
His area may be different, but all the students may not be inspired by that.
But he is not about his area. Generally, the area which is mostly related to the student. In that way, he can also inspire the students. Not particularly always in his area.
You want to ask any question to anybody? Or you want to answer that what is any other question anybody wants to ask?
I have a question anybody. So I'll have a question to Professor Desiraju. He said that teaching should be 10 to 5, then research after that. I cannot agree because teachers are also human beings. Okay, they have some other responsibility, including family social responsibility, and you have really sacrificed and do research till midnight, and we are not a machine after all. So, yeah, that is.
Yes, as far as myself is concerned, my guide is concerned, he taught us the research, that means in all universities, generally the regular research scholars will be there in research laboratories doing all the things. But as a teacher, he cannot find time to register himself as a regular research scholar, and sometimes that's why he will go on FDP, FIP program like that. But as far as teachers who are doing research as part-time or external candidates, they have to concentrate on holidays, they have to go to university and they have to do it like that. In that way, for example, if teacher is a researcher, if he is having research scholars, he cannot waste his time during the teaching hours where he is working. That's why he used to promote them to come on holidays for some time, and after 5 o'clock or something before 9. But teachers are all human beings. I know, I have my own domestic works. But when we have to do research, with the disturbance to our regular duty, we cannot conduct research, and we cannot guide any student for external candidates. But regular candidates, okay, they will be in laboratory and they will conduct. That's why the teachers are expected to, that means sacrifice some of the time out of the teaching hours to promote the research. That's my view.
You want to ask any question to anybody?
So I would like to add, he doesn't mean that 9 to 5 means 9 to 5 I will not touch research. It's like a mutual. If you are free that time, or teaching is not there, you can think of research or any other day. So it's a mutual, hand in hand, teaching and research can go along.
You want to ask any question? Because you want to ask any question.
So, sir, Leka sir, what is your program in guiding your research scholars? Because you are saying something, and when you are guiding your students, for example, if external candidates will come as research scholars, then what are your timings when you are guiding all these students? Generally in a institute, for example. Yes.
What philosophy you can
I am not asking the personal one. Just which type of mechanism you are following, so that.
Tell the philosophy.
My philosophy means that is include everything, policy decision of the government, that we must give say for example, proper weightage to the teaching during promotion. Then we have to find a mechanism how to judge a teacher. So students' evaluation is already there. We have to implement that like that. And if I say my personal research, no problem. I will not do research at the cost of teaching. I will do teaching. But say after 5 o'clock for 1 or 2 hours I can meet the student. Or I can come at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 I can meet up my student. And then they will go to research laboratory, I will go to my class. So weekend is there, Saturday is there. So it's possible. It's possible without harming the teaching. Thank you very much.
Anybody wants to ask any question? Finally? Yeah.
So there is one way of tackling this. If you have a research group, you can have intermittent group discussions. That way the students will also know who is doing what, and it will reduce your time. So spending 1 hour with each student, if you periodically meet them once a week, once in 2 weeks, and then ask them to do what they have done in that period, so that way research can be easily managed. I mean, easily means with a minimum, friction. Yeah.
Should I ask any question?
Do you know, quickly we can take, because little time is there. I would like to ask a question. Do you know any role model, any institution, any organization where these links are very strong and that can be a role model for our nation? Anybody is aware of that? Because somewhere something should be visible. No? Otherwise, we can say that you go there and see, what is, how it is happening.
Not necessarily that you make some community.
Anybody knows about this? Any role model, any example?
I would recommend my institute.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, my career is in Guwahati University and IIT Kharagpur, but unfortunately in Buddha institution I could not see any role model like that. But I learned all these things in TIT, Tokyo Institute of Technology in Japan, and with Professor E.J. Thomas in Manchester. I saw there, I learned how they manage both teaching and research throughout the day.
Okay, so now friends, we are coming to the last part of it, which is a sort of an open forum discussion or forum period it is called. Now where from the audience, if you have any specific focused question to anybody, you can ask that. We have 5 to 7 minutes.
Question or suggestion?
Question. But very quickly, few words.
First of all, we must allow the student to talk freely with the teacher. That many of the teachers they don't prefer. Only then they will love the subject.
Free dialogue between teachers and students. Students are very happy.
I think what Professor Swaminathan also told, we should have a project in lieu of regular practicals in 4th semester. Now when this project is research oriented, what we are having here and whatever you saw today from my research scholars, this had developed out of my MSc teaching, as I told. And from research results, my teaching is strengthened. It becomes more interesting. My special suggestion is that there should be a project.
There should be a project. Madam, what is the
This pattern is followed there in Rajasthan University also. In 4th semester we have project work only. The students, they go to the laboratory, they have the practical experiences with some other senior research scholar. So that by that we can link between the teaching and research in a better way.
Okay. Anybody has a question? Sudhakar Babu.
I just wanted to make a small comment. Like a teacher, as it was said, a teacher is not a teacher from 9 to 5 or 10 to 5. A teacher is a teacher 24 hours. And research is not going to affect teaching adversely, not at all. Because a lot many work related to teaching. The teacher is not teaching from 10 to 5 for the whole duration during the institution. He has only 12 hours or 14 hours of teaching, and most of the time for the preparation of that teaching, I think most of us we do at home, not at our institute. And the time we spare for research, that gives us some ideas to some problems rather, which we again go back to the basic books and to clarify the things, and then this strengthens our teaching.
Sudhakar Babu. Just 1 minute.
So, first I agree with the opinions expressed by Professor Swaminathan and Madam and Vitspilani, not with respect to the timing. The teachers' research linkage, it must be strengthened at UG level as well as PG. If you observe the present scenario, my sincere advice to all of members, so you can find eminent researchers from different disparities in the audience and in the panel discussion. So, in our system, choice-based credit system, teachers, most of the teachers confined to the choice-based credit system while handling the syllabus in the degree colleges as well as in the universities. They are not finding time to carry out the research. So because of semester system, mid-semester system,
What you would like to say is the time is not there for
No, time, that is research has no boundaries, no timings, not with respect to any timings. Okay. So the linkage, the quality of the research, it differs from national institutes and universities and degree colleges. Okay. So one thing very important, any teacher, it must be aware of the emerging areas of the research to update the academic curriculum. Then the teaching research linkage, it will be strengthened, definitely.
So I am from SRM University, Chennai. As Dr. Dekha told, that some stress has to be given, some instruction or some pressure should come from the institution so that teachers will concentrate more on research. Especially in our university, when it was started some 3 years before, the research quality was very less. The number of publications and all such things were very difficult, and they have made it as a policy that every teacher has to publish 1 research paper per year. That has been made as a policy, and they have started giving incentives and doing Teachers' Day celebrations and all, and then the number of publications has been dramatically increased.
Well, I agree with the flow that a teacher works in 3 dimensions: teaching, research and extension. All 3 are very important, essential components. But 2 things come in my mind, 2 teachers came in my mind just now. I was discussing with my neighboring fellow friends. Professor Sokin Singh from Patna University, a well-known teacher in quantum, and Professor Wadia from Pune University. These 2 teachers were great teachers, and Professor Wadia is still there. I mean, he is a great teacher. None of them has done anything in research field, but great teacher. We didn't have answers. No, I mean in this context, where we agree that teaching, research and extension.
Another point, another dimension to discussion. There can be a teacher who is not interested in research, I want to just educate the student. This is also a point which you have to keep in mind. Perhaps the time is over, isn't it? So let us conclude. I hope we are in time. 45 minutes. So Somi, I am very thankful to all the panelists for a very healthy discussion, cordial discussion.
We should thank Professor Samas also for a wonderful coordination.
And thanks to all the audience. So many new points have come, and I am very much thankful to timekeepers. They helped me a lot, invisibly. Here I was looking all along that side. Thanks to you all, and somebody has taken down the points. Perhaps we can make a note. Yeah, we can make a note and then circulate to all the participants. Thank you very much. Thank you, madam, for giving me opportunity, madam. Thanks to you.
Innovations in chemistry teaching and research has crossed the boundaries of multiple branches, emerging with new dimensions of understanding and applications. With this aim, the Department of Chemistry of the IIS University organized a 3-day national conference from October 16 to 18, 2014 on emerging areas in chemical education and research and National Convention of Chemistry Teachers, supported by Department of Science and Technology, New Delhi. National Convention of Chemistry Teachers is an annual meeting of the Association of Chemistry Teachers, which provides a platform to bring together the chemical educators of the country, particularly those engaged in high education sector. The focus of the conference was on emerging trends in all the branches of chemistry, including chemical education, computational chemistry, bioorganic chemistry, synthetic organic chemistry, molecular modeling, green and medicinal chemistry. The conference commenced at 10 a.m. on 16th October 2014 with the inaugural session, seeking the blessings of the Almighty in the form of a prayer, followed by lighting of the lamp by all the dignitaries on the dais. After which, the conference chairperson, Dr. Ashok Gupta, Vice Chancellor, The IIS University extended a warm welcome to all the resource persons, delegates and student participants. Professor Pradeep Bhatnagar, Dean Faculty of Science, presented an overview of the science departments of the IIS University. Professor S.D. Samant, President ACT, in his presidential remark, highlighted the problems being faced by chemistry educators in terms of curriculum and delivery. Professor D.V. Prabhu, General Secretary ACT, in his address, acquainted the audience with the aims and objectives of the ACT and its annual convention. As we are all aware, Association of Chemistry Teachers has the tradition of honoring one chemistry faculty every year in its convention with ACT Lifetime Achievement Award. The faculty has to be from the zone in which NCCT is being organized and should have made exemplary contribution in the field of chemistry in terms of teaching and research. The Central Zone Committee nominated Professor R.K. Bansal for this prestigious award. In the inauguration ceremony, he was felicitated with the shawl, cash prize of Rs 11,000 and a citation. In the series of awards, Dr. Bihari Singh from AN University Patna was awarded Anupam Sinha Best Chemistry Teacher Award for his contribution in chemical sciences. He was felicitated again with the shawl, cash prize and citation. The second issue of the biannual magazine Science Spectrum of the Chemical Association of the IIS University and third volume of the Journal of Science and Technology published by the university were released by the dignitaries. The conference co-convener, Professor R.K. Bansal, Emeritus Professor, the IIS University, introduced the keynote speaker, Padma Vibhushan, Professor M.M. Sharma, and invited him for his address. Professor Sharma delivered his talk on innovations in chemical industry. He emphasized that chemistry is in everything and everywhere and marked chemistry as a toolbox of the world. He acquainted the audience with various interesting innovations in chemistry like discovery of polymers, artificial diamond, membrane and extraction of aluminium from its ore. The inaugural session ended with a formal vote of thanks was proposed by conference convener Dr. Rakhi Gupta. The inaugural session was followed by 13 technical sessions spread over 3 days and chaired by luminaries from the field of chemistry. The first invited lecture was delivered by Professor Uday Maitra from Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. He deliberated on the topic Learning Chemistry in the Computer Age. He wonderfully highlighted the fact that the teaching can be made interesting by incorporating learning material available on the website in the lectures. Professor Savita Latke from Homi Bhabha Institute, Mumbai, introduced chemistry education research in her talk and highlighted its significant contribution at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. Role of chemical sciences in environmental engineering research was discussed by Professor A.D. Gupta from MNIT Jaipur in his talk through different real-life examples. The fourth invited lecture was delivered by Professor S. Chandrasekharan from IISc Bangalore on ethics in research and publishing. In his lecture, he urged all active practitioners of scientific research from academics or research institutions to write up their work in the form of manuscript and get them published in scientific journals of repute. He also insisted that young researchers in particular should be sensitized about various facets of ethics in research and publishing. Challenges of old chemical technologies and possibilities of new innovations were discussed by Professor P. Pramanik from IIT Kharagpur in his talk. He informed all members about the use of methyl glyoxal to avoid cancer. The principle and practices of green chemistry towards the construction of pharmaceutically imperative heterocycles were elaborated by Professor Anshu Dandia, Head Department of Chemistry, University of Rajasthan. Professor R.T. Pardasani from Central University of Rajasthan, Kishangarh, deliberated on the topic Applications of Computational Chemistry in Organic Synthesis and discussed the mechanistic and stereochemical aspects of cycloaddition and photocycloaddition reactions by computational calculations. Professor S. Kelkar from University of Pune discussed about the introduction of micro-scale experiments in chemistry curricula through interesting video clips. He also acquainted the audience that the financial burden on institutes can be reduced with the use of easily accessible and inexpensive new apparatus. Professor P.S. Kalsi from Ludhiana delivered his informative talk on how to teach organic chemistry in 21st century in the first technical session of the third day of the conference. Professor A.K. Singh from IIT Bombay not only discussed the bioorganic chemistry of photoreceptor, but he also focused his lecture on aspects of tertiary education in chemical sciences, particularly with regard to model curricular structure, course content and pedagogy. ACT Lifetime Achievement Awardee Professor R.K. Bansal delivered a lecture on the topic A Symbiotic Teaching Research Relationship for Healthy Growth of Higher Education. Last technical session was a panel discussion on the topic How Teaching Research Linkage Can Be Strengthened in Higher Education. Moderator of this session was Professor S.D. Samant. Professor M. Swaminath, Professor Dalip Kumar, Professor P.V.S. Machiraju, Professor D.C. Deka and Professor Radha Vijayaram were the panelists. We are also delighted to share with you that we received a very good response from the delegates in terms of research paper presentations. The presentations were divided into three categories: undergraduate students, teachers and research scholars. These presentations were interspersed in the 3-day schedule of the conference. In all, 17 students presented their poster in UG category. 42 teachers and 60 research scholars shared their work through posters. Due to the availability of the limited slots, only 22 teachers and 9 students were able to present their research work orally. We appreciate their contributions. To encourage scientific research among students and teachers, the IIS University and ACT will award 3 best oral and 3 best poster presentations in each category. The presentations were evaluated by honorable judges, Professor Sudha Jain, Dr. Nilima Gupta, Dr. Meera H. Uchil, Dr. U.C. Jain, Dr. Shraddha Sinha, Dr. S.P. Singh, Dr. D.V. Prabhu, Dr. M.R.R. Prasad, Dr. Rakhi Gupta, Dr. Pragya Sinha and Dr. Varsha Goyal. We thank them for their help and support. A treat to the eyes and ears of all delegates was the wonderful cultural extravaganza put up by the students of the IIS University on the first day of the conference. Thanks to them. Executive Council meeting and General Body meeting of ACT were also held on the first and second day of the conference respectively. An overview to share with you is 270 delegates registered from all over India, 1 keynote lecture and 11 invited lectures by the eminent scientists, 31 oral presentations and 118 poster presentations by young scientists and PhD students in different technical sessions. I hope this conference must have provided excellent academic forum to the researchers, scientists and industry personnel to understand the emerging trends in chemical education research. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I stand before you to convey my immense pleasure in taking part in the conference on emerging areas in chemistry education and research and National Convention of Chemistry Teachers. In kinetic theory, they say the total kinetic energy of the system is conserved, and constantly fraction of molecules colliding or bombarding with each other may tend to lose energy or gain energy. Maybe, I think, fortunately, I was on the gaining side in this national conference. With more and more information being given, like a Maxwell-Boltzmann law, I feel that more number of us could have got energized to promote chemistry as a central science. Here, EA is not activation energy, but ever activated. Needless to say that the binding of host and guest has surpassed even the strongest non-bonding attractive interactions. A long-range orderliness did prevail from day one till the last session. I am reminded of a school here. At school, we dwell upon different subjects: history, computers, biology, environmental science, moral science, etc. Here, be it history of chemistry by Shri M.M. Sharma, computers in chemistry by Professor Udan Maitre, by environmental engineering chemistry by Professor A.B. Gupta, green chemistry by Professor Anshu Dandia, and ethics in chemistry research by Professor S. Chandrasekharan reminded me of a classroom situation with chemistry being centralized and highlighted. Moreover, learning without evaluation is targetless, so Professor Pramanik completed it by passing on his challenges of chemical science. A class teacher is a mentor and is one who binds the students with academics and values. To aptly mention, Dr. R.K. Bansal, the recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award of this year, played an excellent role in creating a symbiotic teaching-research relationship. It will be wrong on my part if I don't mention Jaipur, a city known for gems. A diamond has extensive covalent bond with carbon taking each of its lattice point in sp3 hybridized state, sharing all its valence electron in bonding. This metastable giant allotrope of carbon can be quoted as a message of this national conference. Its luster is exhibited by a multi-step process called cutting. If we need to make chemistry glow as a central science, let us all put our affordable contributions together, bind ourselves, and make a mass unit ready to be refined whenever needed. I extend my overall thanks to the organizers for an excellent feast of central science. Even small amount of defects or impurities, color diamonds are also useful. Blue with boron, yellow with nitrogen, brown with lattice defect, green with radiation exposure, pink or purple or red. Every one of us are important for promoting science. Diamonds are extremely hard but also brittle and can be split up by a single blow. Therefore, diamond cutting requires skill, scientific knowledge, tools and experience. This is the job done by our ACT EC members. Thanks to you all. Thanks for the opportunity given.